Today we have a Craftsman push mower on the bench, and it's got a couple of issues. We've definitely got a carburetor issue. As you can tell, the choke is being stuck open, and if you'll take this bracket and I just barely move it, it closes. That tells me that the customer has run this lawnmower up into a bush or maybe upside of a fence and has caught this air filter assembly and has tweaked it, and it's causing it to bind up in here. But also we want to make sure this bolt is, and we'll check that as well. This mower has been sitting up for about 7 or 8 years, and as we can tell, it's gummed up pretty bad. I'm not even going to bother rebuilding this carburetor. I'm just going to put a new one on it. Links in the description, and also at the very end of the video you'll be able to click on, and I'll show you how to rebuild this exact carburetor in full detail. The first order of business we're going to take care of is this cable, and I know it's just a cable. It's one of the most simple things you can replace, but there's a right and a wrong way to do it. As you can tell, it's not coming back. The cable's rusted on the inside. It's not even worth trying to lubricate it. As you can tell though, we got a couple of strands fixing to bust, so it's time for a new cable. Here's the part number for the cable. It's an Oregon, it's aftermarket 60-109. So go ahead and undo your L bend, and we're going to try to pop this keeper out of here. Sometimes it won't just pull out by hand, but that one did. As you can tell, it just fits through a hole in the handle right here. In my experience, it's always easier to hook the engine side of the cable up first. Just put your Z or L bracket in and then slide it in place and let it pop. Go ahead and slide your new cable over the handle. When they're new, they can be a pain in the rear. You just work it on there and it'll go. And just like that. Oh, it popped out. Dadgummit. Just kind of work it. There we go. There we go. Just like say. This is what I want you to be mindful of. You want this to be as straight as possible. If we were to hook this Z-bend up on this side of the bail cable, as you can tell, it's pulling it off to the side. So when we install it, we're going to hook it up on this side. Like yay. And we have straight pull. I'll show you what happens whenever you hook it up incorrectly. When it's hooked up the wrong way, as you can tell, it's pulling at a pretty severe angle. Yes, it will work, but if you look right here, that cable is getting pinched right in this crook. So if you have you ever taken a coat hanger and you bent it and bent it and bent it and it finally broke? That's what's going to happen to this cable. So we'll get it put back in the right position, and this part of the repair is done. Bet you, yep, it's loose. Is that a 3/8? Yeah. Just give it a wrap. Tighten this brother over here. They're both a little loose. Oh yeah, now that bracket's good and tight. sometimes this bolt will break completely off. And if I can find that video where I took this broken bolt out, I'll try to link it in the description below, because it was a pretty good video. But it was, man, it was like several years ago, but I'll try to find it. And just make sure your gasket's good. Your carburetor should come with a new one, and make sure your intake pipe is not cracked or broken. Got the new carb mounted. Everything's working freely. Here's proof in the pudding right here that this thing has just been bashed into fences and bushes and no telling what else. Look how mangled up the throttle controls are. And that's pretty thick metal. That's supposed to be like that. And that comes up a little more. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to be out of adjustment, because it needs to be about right there. And we'll set the RPMs when we're all through. I'm going to go ahead and throw a new gas cap on it since it's broken. It's been setting up for so long that I'm going to go ahead and install me a new fuel line. The other one was pretty rotten. And slide on your air filter base and a new filter. Tighten up the screw. Got everything hooked up. First start, I think he said it's been sitting up for 5-6 years, something like that. Let's see if it'll bust off and run. Bail. That's what we want. It's going to smoke for a little while. Anytime an engine sits up, for some reason, when you crank them up after they've been sitting, they'll smoke for a tar kiln, like a tar kiln, until they get, you know, all that residual cylinder, you know, oil out of there, or leakage by the valves, or whatever you want to call it. The oil's full, but it's pretty nasty, so we're going to go ahead and change it. We're also going to change the drive belt. As you can tell, it looks like it may have been rat eaten. We've got a couple of good chunks missing out of it. So let's get this thing flipped over on its side. We'll take the blade off, see if we can get the blade adapter off, and slide this new belt on. Let's go ahead and pull the blade off. Pull this cover off. As you can tell, that belt is going to ride in between here, and it looks like it may have gotten put on the wrong side of this belt guard right here. As see how rusted it is, it looks like it got hot and burnt all the paint off of it, but we'll get it put back the right way. Just how rusty it is, telltale sign that it hadn't ran in a while. What we're going to do is just basically peel this belt off by hand. That way it'll give us enough room to go towards the front. Now go ahead and loosen up the belt guide bracket here. There's one screw here that I've already taken loose, and there's one right here. Now you can just push this away enough to get the belt off pulley here, and then we're going to snake it back through the undercarriage once more, and then it's off. Simple as that. Let's take a look at this belt. I think it's just dry rotted. He said it got burnt, but I don't see it getting hot. I just see it just getting dry rotted, and It's no bueno anymore. I'm going to go back with the OEM belt. The part number is 532196857. Just slide the new belt back through towards the front. There's the opening. Just kind of let it lay here in the engine pulley. Slide the belt around the front pulley, and then we're going to put our bolts back in. Your best friend at this point is going to be a spring clamp. What we need to do is we need to tighten this belt in its run position. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run to the back of the mower, and I'm going to engage the drive, and I'm going to put a spring clamp on it, and you watch the belt as it tightens up. And at this point, we can put the guard back on, and it will lay in between just like it's supposed to. What I think happened is it got put on and the belt got on the wrong side. Happens a lot, so no harm, no foul. My camera don't like this rattle gun noise. It kind of times it out there for a second, and then the sound comes back. Let's go ahead and reinstall the blade. If it needs to be sharpened, now would be the time to do it. This one's pretty sharp. It's just real rusty. He said he didn't use this more but a couple of times. It's just going to be a bang around shop mower. Scoot you around here. I don't mean to make you too sick here. I'm trying to keep from hitting the camera with my air hose. Just give it a couple bumps. For all you torque Nazis out there, about 50 to 60 foot-pounds, 55, somewhere in there. Well, guys, that turned out real well. And put this cover back on, and we're going to call this one good. As always, guys, click that bell, because if you don't click the bell, how are you going to get my newest videos? Anyway, guys, hope this helped, and we'll see you on the next video for sure. Have a great day.